All right, so we're going to learn how to print the contract for a spec sale. So starting in IHMS, you're going to click Sales Office and Design Center. From here, you're going to select your community. And we'll come down here. Afterwards, if you haven't already done so, you'll simply bring up your buyer. For this example, we'll use the information provided. Now, of course, you want to make sure that the address has been filled out correctly so that when it does print on the contract, it is the correct address. So I'm just going to fill that in real quick here. Also, you want to make sure that you have the right email account. So just make sure to verify that with your buyer. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, do I have the correct email account or email address? Also a good telephone number for these folks. And that's it. All right, so the next thing you want to verify is that anybody that is going to be on the loan, so if they are on the loan, you want to put them on the contract. To do so, you would simply select names and add. For more information on adding anybody to a contract, please take the Names tab, training. Now, of course, in this example, we're just going to leave it blank. We're going to pretend here for a moment that J. Dodd is buying a house by himself. So where do we begin? Besides the Names tab, you would simply toggle over to the Sales Information tab. From here, you want to add your contingencies and, of course, add your realtors. So in order to add a contingency, you would select the Add button and fill out the description, whatever that may be. Now, you won't put anything in here, so no expiration or satisfied date and no contingency amount, even though there might be an amount associated with it. For example, they buy a spec home and you have a $3,000 incentive on closing cost. You still wouldn't put any amount in there. And then hit OK. The co-op agent, of course, is the realtor. So we're just going to select one right here for training purposes. They're associated with this broker. Perfect. And of course, you're going to want to verify that too. But the agent amount, so what is their percentage of commission? Typically, it would be 3. That is it on this page. So moving over to the Financing tab. And again, for more information on each of these tabs, we have separate trainings. So I'm going through them pretty quick, but you are able to access that information. All right, so starting up top, the lender. Well, the lender, we need to fill that out just to make your closing coordinator's job easier, especially if it's our preferred lender. So in this example, I'm just going to use Red Rock Mortgage. Once you select that and click on the screen, it's going to populate some information. Now, the information for the loan originator and the processor may or may not be correct. So if it is not correct, just go ahead and delete it. You can also select the loan type. In this particular example, it would be a VA loan. Done. Okay. So the rest of the information is left blank, and we will simply move over to the Agreements tab. So we're going to skip the Colors and Styles tab. You'll see why here in a moment. So once we hit the Agreement tab, we've gone over this in previous trainings, but you're going to want to enter the contract date. Typically, the contract date is for the date that they are standing right in front of you, ready to write. The contract sign date generally matches the contract date. Estimated settlement. So get with your division leadership on what you should put for a spec versus a build, or if you should put anything at all. That does differ per division. However, in this division, because we'll pretend that we're going to buy a 100% complete spec, we would do it 30 days out. Also, make sure that your deposit the deposit amount is correct. So again, for a spec in Oklahoma City, that's $500. You'll update all of your other information if you have extra discounts or something along those lines. For now, we're going to leave that blank. That's about it on this page for now, but we will be back. Next, you're going to go over to selections. Here, you're going to select the lot and block, or the spec that they're buying. In this example, we're just going to take the one right here up top, double click, Once you double click, it's going to give you what looks to be an error message, but it's not. It's normal. So it's just basically stating that you're going to create an addendum for this file. Now, when I hit yes, it's going to populate right here all of the addendum or the selections incorporated in this addendum. Okay. Now that's it. On a spec, that's it. Unless you want to add a fence or blinds or something along those lines. Now, the custom option request is done in another training, which is located right here. So if you want to take that training, please feel free to do so. We're going to make believe here that there's no changes to this house. They're just buying the spec as is. So what we need to do is we need to print this. And we want to make sure to print everything. So we're just simply going to come over to the Agreements tab and come right on down, starting at the right. Just for consistency's sake, we're going to hit Selected Addendum. Excuse me. Give it a second here, and it's going to pop up with two different addendums. So you're going to have Addendum 1, which is your color selections here. And you'll notice here that you've got one tab. However, there is a second tab right here. The second tab is going to be your selections. So anything that we've added to the house or that came standard with it at a cost. Okay, or anything that's free. Okay. Once we've got these two addendums, we want to print them. Now, for training purposes, we're not going to print these. We're going to save a tree or two, but this is where you'd go to print that. I know that's pretty common knowledge, but little printer right there. Print it off. All right. So after we printed those, we're going to come over to Sales Agreement. Now, the Sales Agreement tab, you're just going to select it. Give it a second to load, and it's going to bring up your agreement, or at least the 9 pages that are the main portion of the agreement. So it's going to state, of course, your entity that Roush Coleman owns, the buyer's name, the lot and block, property address, the price, and so on. There's going to be some fillable items in here, which you would either fill in or print this out and write them in. So for now, because we go over contracts on a separate training, we're just going to go ahead and print this off. Okay? So you'd go File and then Print. Okay, so once you've printed that off, what do we do next? Well, what we do, at least in Oklahoma, and this, again, this might differ slightly per division, but because I'm in Oklahoma City, I'm going to show you the way that we do it here. So follow-up letters. So up here at Reports and Letters, again, follow-up letters. When you drop down the follow-up letters, it's going to open up a new window, and in this window, you're going to see a bunch of different forms, basically. Now, you may or may not use all of these forms. As an example, though, in Oklahoma City, you would use the 210 addendum, so you would simply double-click on that, and then print. We want to print off the customer referral addendum, so double-click and then print. And then lastly here, at least, we'd print off the OKC additional contract documents. And you notice there's a couple of these in here too. So yours may or may not be located here. It could also be on your one login on the sales drive. Definitely get with your division leadership to find out exactly what you need. So that's about it on printing off a contract. Now, keep in mind, there's other addendums, other forms, other things that are required per division. Typically, you're going to have a checklist, which I have gone over in a different training as well, so just kind of the paperwork needed for a full contract. But other than that, that's pretty much the process for printing off a contract. Again, that's for a spec and not a build. We'll do the build contract at a later time. Have a great day.